What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Powered by Primus. And in today's Primus's podcast, this is going to be episode 4. And in this week, we're going to be talking with the team. We're going to be going over and discussing our top 5 characters and battle cards revealed thus far. If you guys are curious, this is March 15th at the time of the recording. And then we're going to make our way back to the Hall of Records on Iocon with Wes for another lore transmission. And then we're going to be wrapping up part 2 of our discussion from last week, where we were talking about female Transformers in the media and how they got into the game. And then we're also going to be doing a giveaway with today's episode. And then lastly, we are going to be talking about a few different things coming out with the channel and on the website. And then we are also going to be talking about what we currently are playing or going to be playing here in Denver. So I will also add all those timestamps down in the description box below if you guys do want to go back and forth as far as what you want to listen to first, although I highly recommend you guys just start at the beginning and work your way through. So, all right, so today I'm going to be sitting down with Wes and Kevin again. You guys did get some introductions from them last week. However, this week we do have Mike, who's going to be sitting in with us, so we are going to have to knight him, and in order for us to do so, he has to tell us how he ended up getting his love for Transformers. So let us know.
Well, first off, hi guys, this is Michael here. So we're going to try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. Basically, when I was 4 is when I was introduced to Transformers as a mythos. Mom, Dad bought the toys for me, instantly hooked. I've been a Transformers / Giant Robot fan ever since, but Transformers is my primary love. I love the lore. I love the mythos. Autobots versus Decepticons. Just amazing stuff. It's awesome.
All that.
Who's your favorite character?
I can't pick. Just there are too many. Menasor is on a top list, and as sure as many of you have, if you've seen the videos, me and Stinticons, the rough
No, your guys'
history.
Relationship's in a really good spot. It's just Menasaur's.
Menasor's
Be
terrible.
the hour-long match of hitting each other back and forth for like one
terrible.
damage.
He's terrible. No, I will say that combiners as a group, if you want to try and condense it as much, those are my favorite characters.
Well,
just
you have bots that can transform into stuff, and then they can combine to make something bigger stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, how's that not cool?
Right, that's just really cool. All right, so before we get into our top 5, we are going to start with Wes on this, but I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons. Huge thank you to all of you guys, just because of everything you guys do for us, showing us that little bit of additional support. We're able to get these mics, get the podcast going, which I know is a huge conversation a lot of people wanted. So again, a big thank you to you guys. Now, if you guys want to become a part of that team, you guys can head over to patreon.com/poweredbyprimus. You guys can check out all the things that you guys can additionally do for us, as well as get some sweet rewards in the process. So, with that, Wes, go ahead and start us off with your characters.
So, the top characters that I'm looking most forward to at the moment, starting off, Fortress Maximus.
Boom.
He looks awesome. We've played around with him a little bit in proxy matches, and I think they knocked it out of the ballpark with him.
I think he is really
I could be
good.
wrong, but so far he seemed pretty strong. Secondly, I'm a big fan of Whirl.
Yep.
I think he looks a lot of fun. The jury's out on whether he may be super competitive, but I think you can build some really fun decks around him. I think he's going to fall into that, potentially fall into that, like where he's always going to be a fun character to mess around with.
Yeah. I don't think his stratagem is going to get much play until we get more helicopters.
Yeah.
But I do like that is open for in the future.
I agree.
I do like that.
Next up, Braun being introduced to the game made me super happy. Again, we've played with him a little bit. I saw him in action in our local tournament last night, and because we're doing some proxy work, and he's a little workhorse. For 5 stars, what he can do seems pretty decent. Night Racer.
Now, is that? I know we've had a lot of conversation about how to officially pronounce her name. So if you are listening,
I do officially. So the way Transformers have been named in the past, and based on what her bio is, Night Racer is a gunner. She is an actual highly skilled weapons officer for the Decepticons.
That's why she's going all John Wick in the art.
Yeah, and so the thing about it is that because there's never been any media that has ever said her name aloud,
Right.
And her name could be construed as either Night Racer or even Night Tracer, because take Air Razor from Beast Wars. The way her name was spelled, it's not AIR new word RAZOR, it's ARAZOR. So is she iRazor? Air Azor?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's true.
so the way it, I've been calling her Night Tracer for a long time, just because I think that name sounds cooler, because she's a gunner and you have tracer rounds and all that kind of stuff. But I think the collective has officially fallen on Night Racer, and I'm okay with that, and I will call her that. But I'll still probably always default back to Night Tracer every now and then.
The good news is, even if you get it wrong, no one can really correct you. So,
I mean, it's true. Well, Hasbro can correct me.
Yeah, Hasbro, yes.
And if the Transformers team is calling her Night Racer,
then that's a different story.
But I haven't heard them say her name yet. So,
nope.
Personally,
Right.
Anyway. And then last but not least, Trax. He's my next, I'm really looking forward to. And the reason why, again, Trax was always one of my favorite characters from the cartoon. I always liked the fact that, he was just this vain Autobot who was like, hey, what are you doing? Stop scuffing my paint. I always found that entertaining. I think they've done a good job. He's for his star cost. I think as a 9-star character, he's really solid. I am still not sold on him as a plane yet with his stratagem.
Okay.
Because he's 10 stars, and we've seen a lot when you use a stratagem, he becomes 10 stars, and there's been other 10-star planes.
There's a 10-star plane on my list for today too.
So. I don't know if I'm quite yet sold on him yet, but I'm looking forward to playing with him, testing him out, and seeing how it all shakes down with that. So those are my top 5 characters that I'm most currently looking forward to. That might change in the next week or so when we get the reveals of the last remaining characters.
Yep.
But as of now, those are my faves.
All right, Kevin, who's your top 5 for characters?
Kind of like Wes, I'm really looking forward to Whirl. He's just one of my favorite characters. He just looks super cool. He's not triple changer here, but he has changes the helicopter, his normal robot mode, and he has a little not all-terrain, but like a Bastion from Overwatch. It's a little, he's a little gunner thing.
I get it.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Looking forward to Braun. I think most of us are. He's a little tough guy. Really looking forward to Bludgeon. I think he's just a cool character, a samurai tank guy.
All right. Yep. I agree
Wolfwire.
Who's the other one?
Wolfwire.
Wolfwire. Yeah.
He's the one you get a free green pip card and stuff, swapping it out.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be putting him with Airstrike Patrol.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Being able to just draw 2 and then be able to just get a free one after swinging.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be pretty good.
Especially with the new weapon that we saw revealed the other day for range characters to get that +4 potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To be able to use that one back and forth.
Yeah.
It's kind of brutal.
Then currently the one I'm looking forward to most is Nautica. I love her as a character, and will be great in a blue shell list.
Yeah, I know she's a boat, but she's gonna be a tank boat. She's gonna take so much to get through. It's crazy. Her defense is gonna be nuts.
Her ability is just solid.
It's super good.
I just hope that the first tribal boat card is "I'm on a boat." That's the title of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a little character, a little silhouette of T-Pain.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that'd be funny.
I hope it's I want to touch the boat.
I'm going to go touch the boat. That'd be a good one. All right, let's jump over to your top 5.
All right, sounds good. So far, this one has been on the previous 2. Braun.
Yep.
I like the fact that he just seems like a fun character to play in general. I like the multicolor aspect to him, the interesting mechanic they got playing with him. Again, Braun's just a fun character in general. And he's a 5-star truck, which is, for his stats and what he does, is just super solid. So
Get
I'm
out the
excited.
cargo trailers.
I'm excited to play him. Cargo trailer, just anything with trucks, really. Next one on my list is Windsweeper. It's about time we got some pretty nutty plane help and support, and I think he does that in spades. He is scary good, but I don't think too OP.
No, the thing that they put him at 10 stars avoids a 4-wide, which I think is extremely relevant because I think you almost immediately pair him with Slipstream, and then your last character's kind of whatever. But I mean, to be able to like essentially one shall stand just your opponent.
So good.
Oh my god, he's gonna do so much.
He's really good.
So much.
The other character that I actually really liked was Autobot Gears. His upgrade manipulation, just in general, his alt mode, which allows to move an upgrade from one character to another. So if you're trying to swing at a guy with a force field, you're like, no, go ahead and move that to another character. Just move it over there, and I'm going to hit you, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And then flipping to bot mode basically returns it to your hand, which I think is what Inferno did.
Yeah.
But Gears does it for cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
He's less stars.
Gears does one upgrade where Inferno did all
That's
upgrades.
right.
So that's the difference.
But, I mean, it's still really good because it's just like, yeah, that upgrade right there, don't like it. You can go ahead and put that back in your hand.
Well, it's also really good for if anyone has Brave or Stealth equipped.
Right.
You can move it to the character you want to hit. That could be really good, too.
Right over there. Next one up, my last two, again, combiners, because I love them. First one, Sky Shadow. Sky Shadow just looks really cool. He could be an interesting character. I like how his tank has Tough 2, his plane has Bolt 2. The only thing I'm not sold on him is that you have to have the stratagem to combine. I get it, so that he's not too OP. It kind of balances him out, but it's required, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I will say, though, as a mechanic, they made his mechanic for combination a bit easier and more fluid than like the other 2-step combiners or 3-step combiners.
I will agree with that.
You know, if you take, Skytread, I mean, he has a very similar mechanic to Skytread. One of them's got to get KO'd, for you to combine, but you don't lose your hand.
Right.
You lose your hand as Skytread. It's still there. You slowly get it back.
Right.
Omega Supreme, you have it's wholly dependent on your opponent cycling their deck.
Right.
I think his is you KO one of them, and you then combine with no additional requirements or caveats to it. I actually like that a lot.
The other part that I like is that keeping it to the stratagem means you can play the characters in other teams and not have to worry about them having higher star costs. Like they're both 7, 8?
They're both 7, and with the stratagem,
so
he's 15.
Right.
Total.
So you can put them in other teams. Like if you want to run a tank deck, you can still put him in a tank deck and have Tough 2 tank on board and not have to worry about it being 8 stars because they were trying to make him 16 total or whatever. Yeah. So it does help out a little bit.
Strong arguments for the stratagem, everybody. Strong arguments there. I can't argue.
But,
and then last on my list, and again another combiner, is Tidal Wave. I know he's a promo card, but dear God. Pitter patter my heart. Yeah. The fact that you can put
Tidal Wave!
Tidal Wave! I love it. The fact that two of those guys, you put a 4-star character underneath them, plane, truck, car, tanker, helicopter. I know that one of them is specific to one and the other one is specific to the others.
Yeah.
But the fact that you just put them under and then they automatically deploy as you're playing is really good. And then Tidal Wave as a character just seems super solid as a combiner, and I'm actually really excited to play him.
Just as a character, he's super cool character.
Dude, I love Tidal Wave is amazing.
I mean,
in the Armada series.
Well, yeah, I mean that I thought was really interesting. I mean, Drew did mention they got special dispensation to be able to use him. So, which leads me to believe that they probably have the ability to go back and probably ask for other of those unique characters that we might see from, like we saw in the Unicron trilogy, or maybe even some of the Japanese characters. I mean, I know a lot of people on the message board continually like to talk about God Jinrai, and I don't think we'll ever see him in the game, except maybe as a promo or an Energon Invitational character creation, or maybe Malaysian box topper. Maybe, I don't know. I just don't. I just. But because they were able to go pull a character from something that they're not normally allowed to pull from, gives me hope that some of those more esoteric characters will see themselves into the game at some point.
And just a little fun bit here before we move on. I don't know if anybody ever played the Transformers, and it was just straight Transformers game on PS2. It was based in the Armada universe, but Tidal Wave had an amazing level / boss fight in that game, and it was a lot of fun. Just throwing that out there.
I'll have to go YouTube that.
I did not play that one, so
Yeah,
I played it, but
you're
that was a long
playing
time
through on a
ago.
boat. You're playing
Nice.
through on the top of this boat.
Yeah.
When you get to the very end, the boat transforms into tidal wave,
And then it's a boss fight.
and then it's a boss fight, and it's like, oh, well, that was kind of cool.
It's really fun.
That was unexpected.
that's pretty awesome. All right, so my top 5, I have Braun as well. I do think it's funny that he was on all 4 of our
Everyone's
lists. Yep. I think just the ability to get all those different colors for defense, and like the other really big one is that turn 1 he gets in for damage. I think is really relevant because he gets pierced.
Yep.
So you can hit anybody you want and you're guaranteed damage off the beginning of the game rather than having to like waste a swing to start. He just gets in, which is super relevant.
And grapple, you might be able to get a new partner for grapple. Because
Why not?
you never know. Like grapple needs a stratagem.
I agree. But Braun might be enough to make him have maybe that later game when he gets better. Maybe he can last longer. I don't know. Probably not. But next one I do have is Windsweeper as well. We talked about it a little bit, but being able to just move all that direct damage and then transforming and doing more and just it's going to be disgusting. So that character is going to be a monster of a powerhouse. And then the next one I have is Brainstorm. I'm a big upgrade guy. I like to sneak a lot of upgrades into play, and I think Brainstorm is really good. Not to mention, I think Brainstorm is going to be awesome with Dreadwing. There are so many upgrades already in that deck with trying to get stuff out, and Brainstorm is just going to totally be able to sneak so many cards into play on your opponent. It's going to be amazing.
Multi-missile pod might actually become viable.
Yeah, and they're both planes. Yep.
Because that's not scary at all, folks.
Yeah. I mean, you just get to transform and then look at the top of the deck and play an upgrade. Great. And then, okay, let me go ahead and swing. Oh, I have metal detector. Okay, cool. Free upgrade. Thanks. Like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be gross. I'm super, super excited. Next character I do have is Sky Shadow as well. Talked about it. I think that there's a lot of really good things there. His damage output and being able to just do 3 to an Autobot when you transform, I think is ridiculously good. Although I dislike that you have to have the one specific head that gives Pierce 4. I don't like that, but I understand it. So, I like if you could swap and choose any head to put on here, I think he'd be pretty broken. So I do agree. Like the Pierce 4 is probably one of the least scary heads to have on him. So
Well, swap heads exists.
right. You got to run that specifically. I do agree. And then the last one is from Wreck and Rule, and that is going to be Roadbuster. I think Roadbuster is really awesome. I love the fact he's a leader. Play a weapon, deal damage, play armors, repair, like attack drones, extra paddings, all of those just become... I mean, just imagine playing 3 extra paddings and then repairing 3. Sounds pretty good to me.
He's definitely an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, just insanely good character.
Him being a classic character, too, from just Wave 1, Gen 1, like, it's just really cool that he's in the game.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right, battle cards.
This is a much harder category. Are we including stratagems in the battle cards?
Yeah, you can. I also
say
think
yes.
that I don't think these are really like in any specific order. These are just like our 5. Like, you know, they're not. It's not from 5 to 1.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, definitely number 1 and number 2 coming in Master Sword and Ghost Shield.
Yep.
Holy cow, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Seeing them with just some of the proxy play we've been doing, just kind of split, peppering them into decks and seeing how those play out. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, but like permanent grenade launcher. It's
Paralyzo box.
okay.
Is another one of my top 5
It's a really good
currently. I think Kevin Allen on the main Facebook group made a very good point. It's going to be a card that I think is going to start potentially forcing away from mono-colored decks because that becomes a super weapon against a mono-color deck.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, I know you're going to flip an orange, or I know you're going to flip a blue. Oh, look, I'm getting +4.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think he makes a very valid point. I think it's going to help hopefully steer some things into different different pip styles. I really would like to see the game pull away from just the predominantly monocolored decks that we build, because we build blue shells or we build orange shells. We don't build a lot of mixed shells. We do build. I mean, we have seen dual pip shells, like orange black shells and things like that. Really, I'm looking forward to seeing some blue black shells.
Blue black.
There's right now there's not enough cards for blue black shell in the current game. You can do it. It's just not as
effective.
It's not as, whereas orange black, you can do a very effective orange black shell deck. Whereas right now you are still lacking a number of cards to do an effective blue black shell. We're getting there though. There's some new cards coming out in the new set that'll make that happen.
They're on my list, so.
Belligerence, I'm kind of looking forward to.
I'm scared of that card.
I
am so afraid of that.
That's on my list.
That's going to be one of those cards that, those blue shell decks that we like to build are going to become... No, they're going to become tougher.
Yeah,
because when I throw that blue shell guy down, and I'm going to be like, oh look, now they're all orange.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It just farts on blue shells.
The other really cool part is that it's kind of a backwards card. Most of the stuff that they build that has bold is usually follows with blue pips. So even Power Sword and some of those other ones, or Handheld Blaster, Belligerence makes those cards better. Yeah, because you're now I have bold. Oh, by the way, here's 2 blues, but they're now 2 oranges.
I can't wait to run a blue shell Nemesis Prime deck.
Right.
With Power Swords and Belligerence.
Yep, that.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
It is so
That's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
Well, and also it just not only giving you an attack bonus when you need it. If you're playing heavy blue versus heavy blue, and your opponent's got tough 3, and you're I don't care anymore. Great, because every blue you flip is now an orange. So now you're just taking a bunch of freaking damage.
Taking damage.
That's insane. Insane.
Yep.
And then last one for me is tribal melee hand-to-hand combat.
Yep.
I think that's going to be
Which one was that one?
With awesome art, prime
it's
punching.
It's prime punching somebody, and if it's a blue pip with the melee tribal on it, and it gives
+3 attack to a character that has no weapons, and it forces the defender to scrap all their weapons.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
It's so
it's
good.
sabotage armaments, on
with
attack.
Leap into battle.
Yes.
With leap into battle.
It's so good.
And,
good.
So I'm looking forward to that one too. So those are my 5.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about that card is that it scraps all of the weapons. I think it might make it too strong in certain situations. I wish it was just scrap a weapon. But
it's only all the weapons on the defender.
Right.
So it's not. I mean, the only person that it affects more than anyone else,
General Megatron.
Well, okay, yeah, General Megatron.
But I mean, how often were we playing him really anyway?
The Predaking.
Raise his hand.
I mean, Predaking gets kind of
gets wrecked
hardcore.
Dreadwing.
Jam signals.
Yeah, Dreadwing. It's going to have some impact.
I'm going to have spare parts. I don't care.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, I can't imagine brainstorming playing that, getting rid of the defender's upgrades, and then playing the sabotage armaments for the next person to attack you, and just be that would
That'd be hilarious.
oh my lord.
So gross.
Yeah, take that.
Captain Starscream might be getting a lot more play.
Yeah, right?
I'm just saying, I mean, imagine if you could pull that off enough, you have him in the right mode, and probably even a 4-wide with the airstrike patrols, because he's at 12 stars. You play that, even if you're not getting the blue battle icon, you're still getting the +3. You're breaking the defender stuff, and then they're taking 2 off Captain Starscream or something. That's pretty gross.
Kevin,
my turn.
You're
So like Wes, Ghost Shield's probably one of my favorites. Just because I usually lean towards the armor and blue type decks. I think Ghost is gonna be amazing. Also, Perlizo box has Whirl on it, so I'm most excited for that. But just a great card overall. Last Stand, I'm really looking forward to. This little
Last Stand is solid.
Yeah.
So me and Sam were theory crafting.
I saw the meme yesterday.
Well, we were theory crafting, and in a perfect magical Christmas land, we figured out a way to give gives Wave 1 Cup 19 attack.
That's it?
Before flips, and he'll just murder everyone.
Wow.
Now, granted,
because you're talking the stratagem, which allows you to attack again, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's dirty.
So in Magical Christmas Land,
that's dirty.
And then in Last Stand is part of that Magical Christmas Land, is that we basically turn Cup into the Terminator, and he terminates your opponent's team and then dies.
That's awesome.
Hey, it doesn't work until end of turn, right? So it stays.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have quite a bit of more combo things coming out with this new wave for sure. There's a lot.
Like I said, that's Magical Christmas Land Cup, but
it's gonna happen.
I still lean on Volcanicus, so
we're gonna have it happen once.
You guys can have your Cup deck. I'll have my Volcanicus.
It's like my Sunstorm hitting for 40.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have it happen once. It'll happen in one game. Once.
It just needs to be on camera.
Everything will be vindicated.
Yep. Another card, Reflect Damage, the secret action.
That's good.
Not just our area, but the meta plays a lot of direct damage, and
you just can't play that against my Windsweeper. It's not allowed.
And you're also getting the, overwhelming advantages seeing a lot more play.
Yeah.
There's more overwhelming advantage decks. And if they overwhelming advantage, and you're like,
Your guy takes 30? Nope, your guy takes 30.
Now, with that one, do you get to choose who takes the damage off of someone playing it? Because my question is, what if someone goes to play One Shall Stand?
the secret action, reveal if one of your characters would take non-attack damage from an opponent's card. When revealed, instead do that much non-attack damage to an enemy.
So if someone goes to play One Shall Stand, you could just straight deal 6 to them.
Yes.
That is so good.
It's like, I take 3, 2, you take 3. No, your dude that just took 3 takes another 3. There you go.
Wow.
I think that's be a good card.
Wow.
Then the card I'm looking forward to most, again, because I'm playing blue, is Concealing Contrails. That's the one if you're flipping, for every black you flip, it's a secret action. Every black you flip on defense, you get
Defense.
Extra defense with it, yeah.
Yep.
It's going to make it's one of those cards that's going to heavily support
Blue-black
shell.
Yes.
Making it
I think
viable.
I think blue-black plains is probably one of the first things I'm gonna explore with Windsweep and Slipstream, and then that card alone, it's a great start. Great start. All right, Michael, what are your 5 battle cards?
All right. A lot of these have already been touched upon. So first off, Belligerence.
Yep.
I think is a great card. My thing is for Battle Masters, it just seems like, okay, I'm going to give my guy +5 attack, and then it KOs, and then it becomes a weapon. Awesome.
Oh, you're talking about Last Stand.
The last stand.
Yeah,
That's Last Stand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get +5, and then at end of turn KO it.
And then Belligerence goes from blue to orange.
Yep.
Yeah, but sorry guys, I confused you people.
We're good.
Apologize.
We got this.
But yeah, Last Stand, which +5 and then KO. I still think Peace Through Tyranny might be a little bit better just because it gives you an extra turn. But with Wave 1 becoming a little harder,
Situational.
With Wave 1 becoming harder ultimately to get, I think Last Stand is a great response to that. And the fact that it's also a black pip, so it gives you...
I also really think that it helps phase out Peace Through Tyranny as much as a card for your Battle Masters, just because +5, you play that on a Lionizer and then swing, that's crazy amount of damage, and then it goes away,
and then it becomes a weapon. Just all right.
And then especially in the situation where your opponent now has to waste their next turn responding to it automatically, versus KOing your character and then going, okay, cool, I have a turn to wait. They have to have it right there.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So yeah, Last Stand, Belligerence. Now this other one that I have on my mind is a little bit of a story, and I apologize, but the last, I'm gonna try and keep it quick, but I have to throw this out here because not this last Saturday, but the Saturday before, I was playing in the tournament, and I was proxying, or I was playing against Wes, who was proxying. And he was using a card that legitimately scares me. Counter Espionage.
It's on my list.
It's a gross card.
Should have been on my list.
It's on my list.
Every card could be on a list.
It's a scary card. It's a green-black. It basically says that you choose a card.
Yeah, you name a card.
Name a card. An action. It has to be an action or secret action.
No.
I know.
Name a card.
You just name a card. Yep. And then you get to look through your opponent's hand and
their secret actions.
Secret action.
And then scrap all of them.
That have that same name.
That have that same name. All of them. I was playing against Wes, who was proxying this card, and I was playing a combiner. And he happened to play this when I had.
You weren't playing a combiner. You were playing a 5-wide that didn't combine.
Yes, yeah, I was playing a 5-wide that couldn't combine because I had 2 Enigmas in my hand, and this man was like counter espionage, Predacon Enigma.
Whack, whack.
Whack, whack. Done. Rip classic
didn't see
combiners.
that.
Rest in peace, classic combiners.
To be fair, it was super rude.
It was nasty.
And to salt on the wound, Battlefield Legend.
You dropped.
Sorry.
I didn't want to drop it because I don't want people to know.
Oh, everyone's gonna know. Believe me.
Well, I know they'll figure it out, but yes, he was running Battlefield Legend with this card, and you want to talk about just it. I never combined.
Yep.
So
let's add scarier scenario to that.
It's gross.
When Battlefield Legend attacks and you get to reveal an action, you can play the action, and then if it's a green pip, you can then still pick it up.
Yep.
So you can actually swing Battlefield Legend, get a free counter espionage, and then get it in your hand, and then play it next.
This
turn.
card legitimately scares me. So
Well, that's just because you hate hand disruption.
that's true, but
to the absolute
It is
nth
so
degree.
good.
it's true, I do. But to counter that, I do have a card on here that I really like called Intrusion Countermeasure Software. Basically, it's a secret action, and it says if a card would scrap your cards, flip it. It's like, nope, you don't get to scrap anything. Instead, I get to draw 2.
Yep.
It is the only answer so far that I can see to this card. And is it going to be fast enough against a Battlefield Legend combo? Probably not. But the fact that there is a potential answer to this card is nice.
So what you're saying is I need to start playing Chrome Dome against you and just KOing that card out of your deck.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Michael's will put 3 of those in every deck he makes from now on.
Chrome Dome.
Okay, I will never play again.
Yeah.
He'd have an aneurysm. The first
I
time I
would.
did that
First
to
time.
him, he would have an aneurysm.
I'd stoop and walk. I'd just be like, nope, I'm done. Bye. Thanks for playing, everybody.
Good game. Good game.
Good game. Again, the other ones that were on here, Master Sword, Ghost Shield, I pair them up. Great cards. Just really good. And then my number 1, and yes, this is number 1 on my list, Orbital Strike. Cosmos being amazing. I'm so excited. It's a stratagem, and it basically says that instead of KOing 12-star or higher, it KOs 21 or higher.
fewer.
Or fewer. Yeah, 21 stars or fewer. So instead of 12 stars or fewer, it's 21 stars or fewer. So Cosmos becomes a legitimate threat.
Finally.
Finally. And I am super excited to play him, and I cannot wait.
Oh, that's how you kill Battlefield Legend. You use Cosmos.
You know what? Silence, Knave. I know, right? I can. It's so good.
I
help him.
I just hear Battlefield Legend. I'm like, no, it's cross.
It's okay.
Galaxy Prime.
I love you, Kevin.
Cosmos is going to be able to hit a lot of people, so.
Yeah, the only thing he's not going to be able to hit are combiners, titans.
Well, combiners when combined. Some combiners. He can kill.
Sky Shadow.
What's his name? No one plays him, but first Omega Supreme. Ooh. Not that that's anyway. He could do with a stratagem.
Poor guy. He could do with a strategy.
You know what? Granted, it turns him into a 20-star character, but
Yeah, and I know someone.
from this character.
yeah, it would make him. It would make him legitimate anyway.
Yeah. My list is all the same as your guys' stuff: Master Swords, Ghosts, Armors, Counter Espionage. However, I do also have the Concealing Contrails. That secret action we talked about. That is the one whenever you flip it black on defense, it becomes essentially +1 defense. Love that one. And then I have. Let me see if I don't mess up the name. Master of Metallicado.
Yeah, Metallicado.
Yes. Bam, said it right. That card's insane. Like, to potentially get +5 on an attack is insane. Like, that card is going to be legitimately super good. Not to mention the battle icons. I'm big fan of that card. Big fan. And that's going to go in my Brawn deck, and that's going to go in the Grapple deck. Yeah, that card is going to be really nice. Like I said, I mean, even if you have someone who has Bold and you're getting still +3 off of it, I think it's still relevant. But to be able to get up to +5 is crazy.
Yeah.
What's crazy is now we still have a fair number of stratagems and a fair number of battle cards yet to be revealed.
I know.
We are definitely, this set is really shaping up to be every set changes the game, but I think with the battle cards that they're introducing into this set, there's some serious, changes, in the way I think we build things and do things,
Yeah.
maybe.
And the other really weird part about it, and I don't want to go too much into the conversation because I think there's enough of it already out there, is that with there being no bigger events, a lot of stuff that people are going to be playing is going to be more experimental and more fun rather than more meta. Because we don't have to be like, oh, we're going to have to go to Origins next week. We need to do this, this, and this, and like jam, try to go super try hard. So it'll change up the meta just even in the beginning when people start originally until stuff gets announced. You know what I mean?
And hopefully we are going to have big events.
I agree.
This year.
I want to go to every one of them. So
because the world as it is, hopefully they're not going to cancel too much stuff.
right. So
All right. So with that, we move on to the next installment of Transmissions from Iocon, where I discuss some entries into the lore facet of the game, as well as after that we'll talk a little bit about the characters in the game that deal with the subject. So this is part 2 of our last podcast discussion, where we were talking about the inclusion of female Transformers to the common mythos of our favorite transforming robots. So, just side note, it's strange that the GoBots actually included a female character from the jump, and they came out roughly a year before the Transformers. Crasher.
Yep.
But let's be honest, they were the GoBots, and they're kind of lame.
Yeah, I can't deny that, but Crasher was a fun character.
Well, but they actually included one before Transformers did.
Yep.
But last week we kind of talked about some of the just kind of the thought processes that brought them in and where they kind of stood, and now I'm going to go a little bit into the actual lore aspect of that. So I'm going to talk about 3 specific things. I'm going to talk about Generation 1, the cartoon series. I'm going to talk about the Marvel Comics series and the IDW series. There are a lot of other places I can cover, but then we'd be here for 3 hours.
Right.
So lore-wise, so about 12 million years ago, in our wonderful galaxy, the Quintessons, of course, used and lived on the planet Cybertron, and it was a factory world for them where they were creating autonomic robots, autonomic, that's a bad word. Automaton robots that had a little bit of self-awareness as a slave labor force for military or labor purposes. They created both male and female robotic life forms of that particular brand. But the Quintessons were going to use them for various things to sell across the universe. But a rebel at the time known as A3, later we would know him as Alpha Trion, and his partner known as Beta, a female transformer, helped an uprising that drove the Quintessons away from Cybertron. During the next several million years, these Cybertronians lived during the Great Golden Age until the Great Civil War broke out. It was during this time that the last known female Autobots were thought to have perished when Elita 1 and her squad tried to reach the launching of the Ark. But they didn't make it, and Optimus Prime thought they were destroyed as the Ark rocketed away from Cybertron. Of course, that's retcon. It makes no sense with the original cartoon and all that. With the...
Just ignore that bit.
Yeah, we have. So, of course, that was said to be the last of the female Autobots. So I asked the question, were there any female Decepticons? Because Shockwave in an episode that the female Autobots are introduced to the canon, says, female Autobots, I thought they were extinct. So were there also female Decepticons? You know what? We don't know, because they never address it. Mm-hmm. Ever. But of course, at the time, this is the mid-'80s. This was a boy's toy, and as I mentioned, Hasbro had no intention of having any female Transformers at the time. And so in the cartoon series, they were depicted as an anomaly, called out, either thought to be like extinct or just never existed. The 80s, so sensitive to everything. So there's never mention of any, like I said, of the female Decepticons in the Generation cartoon at all. Although, strangely, in the French language version of the 1986 movie, Starscream and Scrapnel are both voiced by women and given female pronouns. So I guess that technically makes Starscream the first Decepticon queen.
Ooh.
Nailed it.
Maybe.
Even
It's the
Kevin's
French.
like, I don't know.
They invented the sport to run away, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. So, of course, lastly, in the episodes of Season 3, as well as the 86 movie of Generation 1, we get introduced to, RC in the 86 movie, Beta, who was an ancient Cybertronian along with Alpha Trion in the episode that they're in, Chromia, Greenlight, Moonracer, Lancer, and Elita 1. Elita 1 has the most backstory as she's rebuilt from Orion Pax's girlfriend, Ariel. And she has a very special ability that Alpha Trion keeps saying, "Do not use your special ability, Alita. It's too dangerous." And then the end's like, "Use your special ability." And it's just like, what the... anyway. But her ability was reflected very well in the card game, being able to transfer her life energy into others. Other than their first appearances in Season 2, we don't see any of Elita 1's squad again in the entirety of the Transformers Generation 1 cartoon. We do meet Beta. She's the crossbow slinging Daryl to Alpha Trion's Rick. As I mentioned earlier, she was in the Season 3 episode 9, or 4 if you can't Five Faces of Darkness as a single episode. Some people do. And of course, mainstay RC. The writer of the 86 movie, Ron Friedman, was said in an interview about script rewrites for the movie, the big pushback that he got. And the biggest pushback he got from Hasbro was RC. They were like, what the heck? Why is there a girl Transformer? And he was like, well, my daughter likes Transformers, and if my daughter likes Transformers, other girls like Transformers, so I'm putting a female Transformer in. Now, he was also asked, well, did you know there were other female Transformers? And he had no idea.
We're just trying this out.
But that, of course, kind of par for the course with 80s writing, because they would hire script writers to write scripts for things, and there was no internet to connect these people. There was no forums or message boards. It was all sent in through mail and everything like that, so they would, there was a big vacuum of information. So the really only other mention of female Cybertronians at all in Generation 1 is in the Season 3 episode number 21, Fight or Flee, with the Paradon Medics that hail from the planet Paradon, which is a pacifist Cybertronian colony that left to escape the Great War. They all shared RC's body type. They all looked RC, but they were just green.
Well, we kind of had that with the Seekers, too, though, where they all have the same...
Well, true,
frame.
yeah. But in this, it was just, they literally just reused RC's, thing again and just made them all green. The only thing that differentiated them from RC had these really tall, like, shoulder extensions. The Paradon Medics did not. So, RC had the power shoulders, the Paradon Medics did not. But, it was the 80s.
Less to color, less to animate.
So that's pretty much the extent of female Transformers in the Generation 1 cartoon. Like, they were mostly non-existent. The character that had the most screen time was RC from the movie and through Season 3. All the other characters literally got a episode, and that was it. In the Marvel Comics, moving on. So the Marvel Comics was the next big part of Transformers information and lore and things that we would get in the United States and also in the rest of the world. In the 80-issue run of the Marvel Comics in the U.S., there was never one female Cybertronian. Never. Not one. You never saw one.
Sad day, everybody.
Womp womp.
They did have a female presence, however. The Ark, instead of Teletran 1 being their primary computer, they had a feminine AI known as Auntie. She was taken offline during the crash that brought the Transformers to Earth. She was brought back online by Huffer, and then ultimately her fate was determined in the UK run of the comic story. She kind of disappeared from the Marvel run. Like, she was there, and then she just kind of wasn't. In the Marvel UK run, Auntie was taken offline by Megatron and then by Ravage. Megatron shot her, blew her up with his, fusion cannon, and then Ravage errant missiled her And that was it. Auntie was out of the picture at that point.
Womp womp. That's really killing the character off.
So, for those who don't know, in the Marvel UK line, written by Simon Furman, the Marvel UK line was unique and different from the Marvel US run because the way comics came out in the United Kingdom was instead of once a month, like they do in the US, they would come out every week. And so they couldn't break down a 22-page comic book into 4 parts because each installment in the UK was 11 pages. So what they would do is they would take the American comic, break it down into two issues, and then they do 2 additional UK stories. And that's how the UK run was very different from the American run. And if you get a chance to actually like read any of the UK stuff, some of it was pretty good. Some of it was a little weird. Some of it was pretty good though. And we got a lot more fan favorite characters out of the Marvel UK line that were then brought into the regular US continuity per se when Simon Furman started writing that comic as well. So, but in an issue titled Prime Rib,
I love it.
yeah. A feminist mob was formed by a group of human women who were really angered that the Transformers, the Autobots, had no females among their ranks. They didn't buy the Autobots' explanation that their species had no gender. And it was merely a coincidence that they were all males by human association. So, due to their persistent complaints and name-calling, the Autobots eventually yielded and built a female Transformer, RC. So RC appeared in the Marvel UK comics. So once RC was completed, Optimus Prime presented her to the feminists, anxious for their judgment. Summarizing their reactions, the feminists were greatly annoyed by RC's color, shape, and one-of-a-kindness. Optimus Prime,
You just can't win.
he was flabbergasted and ignorant of what had gotten them so angry in the first place after he'd given in to their demands. But ultimately, the Decepticons show up and attack, and RC, avails herself fairly well in combat, and it still doesn't quite make the feminists happy, but
Makes him happier.
yeah. But Hot Rod, trying to aim at the fleeing Shockwave, collided with RC and ended up in a heap on the floor. And when the feminists came back into the picture and smugly asked Hot Rod what his thoughts were on female warriors, now that he had witnessed RC's potential, Hot Rod equally smugly replied that he was all for them. And that infuriated the feminists more. And that is like legitimately where female Transformers showed up in the Marvel UK comic. That's where was RC being created to assuade feminists at the time frame. I mean, way to go.
Yeah, right.
So that interesting prevailing attitude. So we're going to jump forward quite a bit of years now. I'm going to skip over Beast Wars, Unicron trilogy, all those kind of things, because that, again, like I said, we'll be here all day. The next big, really lore thing that people really like is the 2005 IDW comic book series. It was primarily aimed at older readers, not younger people. But this is where it gets really muddied and really complicated and really awkward. So Simon Furman came back. He was the main crux writer for the relaunch of this 2005 IDW series. It was not a continuation of the original Generation 1 comic series. It was a reboot. He had kind of done that with his Generation 2 series, which I don't know how I feel. Generation 2 is kind of dumb, in my opinion.
It's so unequivocally 90s. That's all I have to say about it.
It's very true.
Unequivocally 90s.
Anyway, he originally said that he would not use female Transformers in the IDW continuity until he came up with a reason for them to exist that made logical sense to him. He never understood robots having gender. And to be fair,
I can agree with that.
That's an understandable...
Especially an ancient alien race, yeah, I get it.
Now, he did say he never ruled it out. He just needed justification, like he did for the Pretenders, because he did bring the Pretenders in actually fairly early into the IDW timeline in the Stormbringer miniseries. Because the Pretenders were honestly one of the dumbest gimmicks they ever came up with in Transformers back in the day.
You didn't like the one that was in the Bay movie?
Don't get me started. those movies don't exist.
All right.
But the subject of scientific gender first came to the foreground in the Spotlight RC comic book. It's a one-shot centered around RC, where the characters presented to us as a product of the mad scientist Gehaxis, who is he's a Cybertronian geneticist for all intents and purposes. He had forced and experimented on RC in a Frankensteinian attempt to introduce gender to the species, a process that involved directly with tampering with RC's CNA or cyber nano algorithm. That's the experiment didn't leave RC with the warmest of feelings towards Gehaxis, and when the scientists abandoned her, she began a vengeful rampage that could have swathed across the galaxy. So the thing is this just didn't really sit well with a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of just like, what was it really saying about women?
It sounds pretty
and
pretty
also
dark and brutal.
kind of transgender women that are transgender or otherwise, because RC was a male character, or the equivalency of a male character, and then was turned into a female character
by force.
By force, and I mean
that never goes well.
No, it's kind of like I said, it's really
Yeah.
Heebie-jeebies. Of course, by 2012. New writers came on board, and they had every intention of adding more female characters to the lineup, except in the first 2 years, that never happened. Plans were made, they were shelved, and then finally, Hasbro debuted Windblade. So the writers made the choice of doubling the amount of female Transformers in the universe, from 2 to 4.
Yeah. Woo! So it's not like a massive amount, but it was a big amount.
So we got Windblade was added along with Chromia and Nautica, one of Kevin's favorites. Now they were female Transformers, members from the colony of Caminus, and it was revealed that female and male Transformers lived peacefully together on this colony. Like, it wasn't like a weird thing.
It wasn't like a sex war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, as the series progressed and the other Titan colonies were revealed, it became apparent that Cybertron was the only place really lacking in a healthy female population. It was minorly retconned that Gehaxis was not just trying to experiment; he was actively trying to reintroduce the female Cybertronian to the species on Cybertron. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make the story any better.
Right.
It, you know.
All bad things start with good intentions, right?
Yeah. What if really indeed anything separates the female Transformer from their male counterparts in the IDW universe is really not clear. Spotlight RC established that the male Transformers instinctively could sense a difference about RC and unconsciously used feminine pronouns when referring to her. Like, they didn't have to actively go, oh, you're a her? Oh, okay, we'll call you her. No, they just did. And it's really not clear if this is a byproduct of Gehaxis experimentation or they just knew. It's just a natural thing. In the More Than Meets the Eye offshoot, when Transformers became 2 series during the IDW 2005 run, in issue 31, it was initially described that Nautica had an estrol positive spark type. Now, that's the same name as a female hormone in humans, so James Roberts, the author, he changed it to ferrum positive in the trade paperback after deciding it was unnecessary and potentially offensive to imply that female and male bots were fundamentally different, because at the end of the day, they're not. They're just more female versus male.
Right.
So, in other media, the inclusion of female Transformers was usually always a thing. While outnumbered, there's usually at least one female in almost every batch of Transformers. If you go and look at all the different comic books, the different the different cartoons and things like that are outside of these places, usually you'll find a female Transformer in that. If not one, but two. Usually an Autobot, usually a Decepticon. So they're
Try to keep it equal.
Try to keep it equally. So, like I said last week, now in the 2019 IDW Transformers series, female Transformers are just a regular part of canon and part of Cybertronian society. There are just as many women as there are men in the with these big robots. So, there you have it. I know, like I said, I pass on a lot of other series, but we can spend all day talking about them. So now, like last week, we talked about the Autobot characters. Let's talk about the Decepticons and our one Merc option for the that are in the game. So of course, starting with the Decepticons, of course, we have Flame War. She was in Wave 1, and she also has a Wave 3 version of her card. Kevin, what are your thoughts on Flame War Wave 1?
One of the best cards in the game. Yeah. Give a tough one, everybody. Bold one. Decent stats.
Yeah.
Five stars.
Yeah.
I mean, she was found in almost every single heavy blue list for I don't even know how long, and still in those lists.
Right. It's fun. Well, it's funny because I remember I mean, maybe this is just me because sometimes I'm a little slower on the uptake, but I do feel like it took a little bit of time. I would say probably a week or two for people to really start to settle on Flame War becoming a mainstay in pretty much every deck. Because slowly but surely people can realize, oh, Tough 1 does make that much of a difference. Even though you don't think it does, it really did. Especially in Wave 1, Wave 2, before Pierce became as big as it is now. And even with Pierce, having the Tough, even just Tough 1, can make the difference between 1 health or not 1 health.
Yeah, no, it's super relevant for sure. And like I said, and even in the bold, I mean, we definitely ran a really good mix list with her, and it was nice to be able to flip her and get that bold one too. You know, you can just completely turn it on, and it was solid stuff.
Right. She's basically a staple in every blue deck.
Like I said, she became a she became a staple in every blue deck.
Yep. Now, the next one we have on the list here is going to be Slipstream, whether it's the San Diego Comic-Con version or the Energon Edition version. I think that she's amazing. Like I said, I'm going to be messing around with a lot with her with Wave 5. Being a plane, being a ranged, being able to move damage is ridiculously good. And then also, it's pretty rare to do the other side, but when you attack and flip 3 different battle icon colors, then you can get +3 attack. So
I forgot she had another side.
I know, most people do.
When I was playing her a lot with Dreadwing.
Yeah,
she's never even used the other side.
Yeah. Well, plus the other part about her is you lose you lose an armor as well, which can be kind of relevant when it comes to it. And most of the time you're attacking with another plane, so you really don't want to flip her at all.
Yeah.
So, but the good news is now that we do have the Energon Edition, the price on the original has dropped down. These new ones are available, so it's not so impossible to get. Those,
it's easier to get Slipstream in your hands than it used to be. Instead of spending upwards of 90 to I saw hers go for as high as 130 on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean she's down in a price range where it puts her in the in the most of the super rares, kind of 50 to 60, maybe 70. So you can definitely get her in. She was 8 stars, so she's got, for her stats,
she's got massive potential.
Really good, still very relevant.
Yeah. And like I said, if you haven't seen the Energon Edition version, the original, the San Diego Comic-Con one looks really nice, but that Energon Edition one looks really nice. Yeah, that's a solid card.
And we got a Specialist Flame War now from Wave 3. Again,
stealth.
Yeah, starting out with that stealth, and she's, again, reasonably statted for her star cost, because I think she's what?
I think
7.
she's 7 or 8.
7.
7.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean that puts her in a she's good cost. She's got stealth in her alt mode.
Yep. Focus.
And then focus 2?
Focus 2.
The focus seems to be really relevant, especially people playing the black, blue-black.
Yeah, blue-black mix lists even, to be able to get those bad colors out of the way, and it's pretty nice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got, I think her art's pretty spectacular too.
Definitely.
Agree.
On that. So the thing is, though, I haven't really seen her played much. Maybe if I've seen her in the motorcycle decks where they run RC, they run Chromia, they run both Flame Wars.
Yeah. I know Sam was running her in a 4-wide orange-black deck last week, 2 weeks ago. And the stealth was super annoying, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, super annoying.
But yeah, so hopefully maybe we'll see some more. She might see some more play. I mean, her star cost is makes her kind of poised to put her in a decent spot to kind of fill a gap. So, and then moving on, we have Raider Nova Storm from Wave 4.
Black.
Yeah.
We know all about her.
Yeah. I loved her at Energon Invitational.
Yeah, no, really good. I mean, just being able to have a black battle icon upgrade in there to be able to just turn on the pierce was really nice, and then being able to transform and move damage over as long as you had a that same upgrade attached was really nice. And there's now with this new wave a lot more black battle icon upgrades, so you're gonna have way more of a list of cards to dig through. Whereas like right now, I think there was only like 3 decent options. Whereas now we're going to have like 9.
Right.
So she's going to be super good. And then again, like, I'm just going to say that star count, she fits really nice in there with Windsweeper and Slipstream.
Yep.
Real nice.
7 stars. She's got solid overall stats. I mean, yeah, and with the amount of additional black upgrades and whatnot we're getting, it's just going to make her, I think, stronger. And now, sticking with the Decepticons, Wave 5, we get Night Racer.
That was Tracer.
Hush now.
Hush now. Again, we know there's no corrections there. But yeah, whenever you while you're in alt mode, if you do have a secret action face up or face down, you get access to Tough 1. So essentially going to be able to have Flame Wars ability without really having to transform, which is nice. And then if you're in the other mode and you play a secret action face up or face down, then you do get Bold 1. So
yeah, I have been playing with her in proxy mode, and she's pretty stupid.
Yeah,
her and Flame War together
Gross.
Can be kind of disgusting.
I had Tough 2 and play a secret action like Hidden Fortifications. Now you have Tough 5.
Yeah.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. It's
1v1 me.
It's gonna be, and with the proliferation of a new set, more secret actions that you want to play, it's just gonna make her a stronger character.
The health difference, I also think, makes a difference as
Yes.
well. Like that one is relevant. The other thing is car. So if you are going for like a blue car deck, I think there's potential there, and be able to get untaps can be relevant. And then lastly, ranged, because
Yeah, and she's ranged on both sides, so
icing on the cake. Like to be able to this is the one thing that Flame War didn't have in those blue shells is like you can get access to Field Communicator, but beyond that, your limitations for her being a specialist was really low. Whereas now you're like, oh, cool, I can just add marksmanship and it's actually relevant.
Yeah. Javelins, marksmanship, armed hovercrafts.
There's a lot of potential there. So
Yeah.
insane.
It's the Paralyzo box because she's ranged herself.
I after seeing all the current super rares, I think she will be the most sought out of them so far.
I agree. I think she's gonna be most sought out. She's probably gonna top cost.
She will be a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
She will be the new Flame War.
Well, I mean, like even pairing the two together, like even in the Galaxy Prime deck, like everyone was going for the Tough 2 plane, which I think has some relevance in some way, shape, and form, but it's also because it was ranged. Well, you're still being able to keep Tough 1 essentially, so you're only losing 1 Tough. You're gaining more health and still keeping range. Like,
then she has the stratagem too. You get 2-star secret actions, right?
Yeah. Which I'd imagine we're going to see more of soon with the spoilers, because currently there's only 2. So although I did think about putting her in a heavy orange deck and running those even the scores.
Star battle cards?
Say what?
The star battle cards?
Yeah.
For secret actions. There's
Oh,
only
yes.
two.
Yeah, it had to be secret actions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's only 2-star secret actions.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, run her in a heavy orange list. Cars, even again, you want to keep it on that route. You get the range package still. You can go ahead and get bold one off of secret actions, play even the score. Someone goes to Crusher, and then you're like, oh, okay, well then you just take 5.
And she's actually a good she's a good new pairing for Runabout and Runamuck.
Yeah,
As a
that's true, 'cause
Decepticon
they're both
cars
10s.
list because they're both 10s and then she's 5.
Yep, that's
I
true.
mean
That
you
could be
know,
really good.
that actually I think that's better than like Road Hugger.
Yeah, yeah,
By far.
by far.
And then of course, so that and that pretty much wraps up the female Decepticons that are in the game. That's
it.
It's a very small list, but we have one female Transformer that we haven't talked about in terms of the game, and that is the Wave 4 promo Nightbird.
Look at that. Look, did you see the app? Look at that. I poke on it, and then now we got Prime. Now we're going to Megatron. Okay, now we're good. Oh, back to Megatron. The app still has some. Oh, now we're in Ironhide. Yeah, the app has some
Issues.
some bugs still.
So of course, so Nightbird as a promo, was great. The fact that she was a promo,
I love it.
She was she's a mercenary. They introduced the mercenaries in Wave 4. I thought that was really cool. She's 7 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's too expensive.
For after playing with her as much as we have, I agree. Or she needs 1 armor.
Yeah,
I'd have been okay with that too. 1 armor.
I think if she had 1 armor on both sides,
Yep.
bot mode and alt mode, because
Yep.
she's 0 armor in alt mode, and her alt mode ability is pretty saucy.
I agree. Yeah.
Your opponent plays an action, one of their
damage.
characters takes a damage. That's pretty solid. It makes
And you don't have to transform to even be set up for it.
yeah.
Yep.
But she is so easy to kill.
Yeah. I mean, like you're talking 2 hits max.
Yeah.
She'll maybe survive 1, but the second hit, she's not making it out. That's it.
Yeah, I think
So.
if she was 6 stars
Yeah.
in her current iteration, if she was 6 stars, she'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because then she'd take advantage of things like new orders. She could be.
Yeah, you could do a lot more with
You
that.
do a lot more with her at 6 stars. I just think that there's no, other than casual fun stuff right now, I don't think there's not a lot of places for her.
No, I think she's going to end up fitting more into combo style decks in the future where like that 1 damage can be relevant, or like if some of these decks still consider to keep coming out with these heavy actions over and over and over, she is going to be a good card to throw out there as a sideboard option.
Definitely.
So
Her bounty is pretty solid.
I love
Being
her
able to
bounty.
rifle through your opponent's scrap and play an action out of their scrap, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've done it once or twice, and it was fun.
I pulled it off. I played a pretty nasty action out of there. It was pretty good.
Yep.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't
Well, and also
remember
like
what
your
it
opponent
was.
can't stop it either, right? So if you're gonna get that bounty, like they're just like, oh well, this is in my scrap pile, so I guess it's just happening, And they're like, yep, cool, thanks, I'll just take that. So
I think what happened. I think how I played it is I was able to KO a character, and then I rifled through, and I think they had like a plasma burst or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
it
did
was- it
direct
was- it was a
damage.
double KO
And I was
turn.
able to KO another character, and it was just like, all right,
yep,
here we go.
whack.
So that wraps up our discussion on female Transformers in Transformers, the game, and
Sure does.
Transformers lore. So now I guess we should really move on to our next segment.
Okay.
Good one.
All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about here is our giveaway, as well as some other stuff coming to the website. If you guys do want to get in on the giveaway, the only thing we're going to make you guys do is go down to the comment section below if you are listening to this on YouTube, and I guess if you're listening to it on our new platform, we'll have to figure out a way to do something like that. You guys can also tweet at us. We're going to talk about that here in a second as well. But you guys give us your favorite character coming out with Wave 5, and that'll automatically get you in for that. You also do not need to be subscribed for this. So the thing we are going to be giving away, thanks to Wes here, is we're going to be giving away a Prime GX 4-box. I'm pretty sure that's how it's called. And then we're also going to be giving away BCW top loaders that do go with that. So I do have a video where I did do a box opening on them. I think they're fantastic. So if you guys do want to get in on that, those are the things you guys got to do. And then as far as talking about our website, we do have a new series going on to the website that is going to be Sam from our area. He also does a lot of game design as well. So he's going to be starting a new series where he's doing articles on there where you guys are going to be able to go and learn a little bit more about his way that he breaks down card design and some of that other stuff. and then what the hell is the name of it?
Prime Design.
There you go. So it's going to be called Prime Designs. Also, we did do a new little facelift on the website. When you guys do log on to the website, which you guys don't know, it's poweredbyprimus.com. The first page now is going to have all news and updates, so you guys can see all the new things on there. So if you do go to the webpage on a regular, you'll be able to see all the new stuff that's out there. There'll be links to that. And then finally, we also do have Powered by Primus hats. So I know I've talked about it a little bit. You guys can go and pick one of those up right now. They look awesome. They do come in 3 different colors. We have them in gray, black, and navy blue. If you guys do go to the website to click on it, it will say not in stock in the beginning until you choose a color, and then they will obviously be in stock.
Then they look sweet.
They look sweet.
They are super
I
pretty.
brought one here for these guys to look at today, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice.
Going home with me.
No, it's not.
So now we want to we're coming to the end. We want to wrap things up kind of with like what we're playing right now, what we're kind of testing with, what we're kind of looking at. So, Jamie.
I'm all over the board. You guys know that. So, like, I play a lot of different stuff, especially if I'm working on, like, a Deck Doctor series or if I'm just working on some random stuff. I know that I did a Blaster Orange and Black list recently, which I do still feel bad for. But it was a really, really good deck. I'm going to be putting it on Patreon, and I'll probably be doing a deck profile video on it as well because it is really good, but it is one of those kind of degenerate decks. So, if you are looking for something a little more fun, I would not recommend it. However, if you have a problem with a lot of like blue decks in your area and you guys, really need to push it, that Blaster deck was pretty solid. I mean, there were multiple times where I was getting in for like 9 Pierce 9 on a pretty regular basis with Steeljaw. So pretty brutal. Unfortunately, Kevin knows a little too much. He was running his awesome Sunstorm deck, and it's really, really fun stuff, but it was obviously bad matchup. So playing that, and then I'm going to start working on stuff for Wave 5 here soon. So first one for sure I'm going to be going for is Windsweeper, and then Fortress Maximus. Those are my starting offs for Wave 5. What about you, boss?
Well, like I said, rest in peace, classic combiners. So
You're not going to visit Menasor at all?
counter espionage scares me. I there's nothing I can do about it.
Just counter espionage, counter espionage.
Maybe, but again, it's just
I know. I mean, like you said, that secret action lets you stop. And
Right.
maybe there's potentials there. I will say the most current version of the Menasor list is the best version of the Menasor list I've seen.
that we put together.
That we have.
That's facts.
I agree with that.
It's a really
Now,
good
is it still top tier?
Nope.
No, but it
it's
is
fun.
the best list I've seen.
I agree.
Still Menasor.
But no, I think I just classic combiners and like
You'll
your
obviously
Volcanicus
go-
because I know you're excited.
Yep.
Dude, I don't. It scares me.
Don't care. I'm doing it. I'm gonna like bold 35 someone.
So
Guarantee.
for me right now, the focus will be, as I've mentioned on a few occasions, Cosmos. It's going to be Cosmos all day, every day for a while for me. I want to make that deck happen because I'm so excited. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. What I'm playing right now,
Predaking.
not anymore. Rest in peace, classic combiners.
I broke Michael.
He did.
I done
Broke-
broken in your toy.
You
You could have complained that he could have auto lost.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just
What?
yeah.
What?
Oh well, I just say no. Don't run espionage against me. Counter espionage.
No one counter espionage. Yeah, okay, so that's gonna work.
Or we add it, and then I'm gonna counter espionage before you can counter espionage me.
Right.
Now, I know what they need to do is make a card like Magic has, which we have a card called Brainstorm that does it similarly, but Brainstorm itself in Magic allows you to draw cards and then put them back on top of your deck to protect your hand from stuff like that. So
Would be nice.
they might eventually make a card that allows you to stack it, 2 down, so 3 down, so you can go in a defensive flip and then draw the card again.
We'll see.
So might be a
We'll
thing.
see. No, the one classic combiner that I can see maybe standing against the counter espionage is the Sentinels. Because you run the 3 classic, then you run Mirage, you run espionage, counter espionage, and then counter measures, and you just protect your hand 4 days. I can see that being a possibility.
I will say we found a really cool way the other day to completely dump your opponent's hand on turn 1. So there may be not even chances for you to have an option when you're just like, okay, turn 1, flip this guy. Oh, by the way, you lose your hand and I draw 7.
Yeah, there's gonna be a.
We're gonna have some fun.
There's also Visper.
Yeah.
With the proliferation of green pips,
Yeah.
there's going to be a point where Visper is going to be able to have you dump your opponent's hand on turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Gross.
And then like because then you're just top decking and that's so bad. And like that's what I said, be able to do it on turn 1, like it's just yeah. The way we found, which we'll eventually probably talk about, but nowhere near soon. But yeah, it's you legit. Your opponent loses their hand and you draw 7 on turn 1.
That's disgusting.
I'm sick.
And that's no cards. No, that's playing 0 actions, 0 upgrades. Just like whack.
God, so gross.
Yeah, it's bad. How about you, Kevin?
So I guess I can start with what I'm playing currently. Still playing my King Starscream, the Overwhelming Advantage version.
Yep.
I'm loving that deck. It's pretty fun.
Yep.
But what I've been playing mostly is that Sunstorm. Hit Jason for 40 last weekend.
40 with Sunstorm. Like I was like, is that your deck? And I thought he was shuffling. No, that was his hand. At 40 cards, like legit. Because you ended up sideboarding in, right? You're 10 from the sideboard, so you had 50 cards total.
No, I think I have 48 cards in that deck right now.
40.
currently.
Okay, so you run 48.
So whenever I think of something else that should put it in there, I just add it instead of.
You're like, I'll be all right. Everything's fine with this deck. I'm good.
I mean, even when we were
The
playing,
more the
he was
merrier.
like brainstorm equipment enthusiast, pep talking like. I think you drew like 11 cards on that one, and it was just like
Gross.
cool.
I think I even disarmed myself to put 3 more cards in my hand.
Yeah, listen to that. Wow, disarm actually just gives +3.
Oh, that's so dirty.
But what I'm looking forward to playing is either Nautica or Whirl. Probably someone with those guys. Maybe revisit Dreadwing. I love that. He's my favorite combiner.
I'm telling you, Dreadwing Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Like that character is gonna be really good in there. Yep.
What about you, Wes?
I'm still playing primarily Prime, Battlefield Legend, Mirage, and
Secret action.
Night Tracer?
No. Brave. Fireflight.
Fireflight.
Jeez. And I started kind of playing a little bit with Night Racer.
Which one is it this time?
What do you mean?
You keep going back and forth between Night
Night
Tracer.
Tracer, Night Racer.
I'm Night Racer. I've been consistent in this podcast, Kevin.
Night Racer.
Thank you very much. But I think about using her as the 5-star in that team. Haven't settled on the deck build quite yet. And then last night I did a 4-wide with Cliff Jumper, Chromia, Flamewar, and Night Racer.
Yeesh.
And I built it as a blue-black shell. And
Pretty solid.
not gonna lie, pretty
Yeah.
good. Tough for days. You
Yeah.
know, someone hits you for like 9, and I'm like, I block it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cathartically satisfying feeling where you're like, blap, 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 blap. Oh, look, I don't take anything.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like in said situation, let's say you play Hidden Fortification, right? You're already getting tough 1 off of Racer, and then you're getting tough 1 off Flamewar, and then you're getting tough 3 off the Secret Action, and then if you flip a white, like you're just flipping everything.
And you happen to
Like
have,
yeah.
and you happen to have a couple of, extra paddings on a character, and so they're getting like tough 800.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So that's what I'm kind of. It kind of all spurned out of I was kind of building a blue cars deck using tracks, and I still want to revisit that, but this kind of evolved out into, adding Night Racer and Flame War and seeing them as a combo and being able to take advantage of, new orders, getting to untap Flame War, getting to untap Night Racer. And then start your engines, getting to untap guys again, and just being like, "I'm now 9 wide. How do you feel about this?" And watching it was, I don't like it.
Not very good.
Not very good.
Don't like it.
Nope, I don't like it.
So that's kind of what I'm playing and what I'm looking forward to actually building here in the near future. So,
Nice.
So, folks, that brings us to the end of another episode. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're listening to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Powered by Primus. We can be found on Facebook using a quick search for Powered by Primus. Make sure to visit us at poweredbyprimus.com. And please, if you would like to support the channel and this podcast, consider joining our Patreon, as it helps us continue to make this content and much, much more. We always want to thank our current patrons. Your support is awesome. We love you guys.
Awesome.
All these links will be found in the description, and hopefully you should be able to find us on your favorite podcasting platform soon, as we're getting everything submitted to get on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. So you can listen to us at work and don't have to have YouTube going all the time. So,
Right.
Well, folks, for the team, for Kevin, Michael, and of course
Myself.
Jamie himself, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. And until next time, transform and roll out.